Hello and welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Wednesday yet again, time for another inspiring and superbly interesting Light 'em Up live show. It is a pleasure to welcome you back. As always, for our dear friends and family, plenty of you joining us here for today's show. If you're watching over on Facebook, please make sure to put all your questions underneath the live stream into the comments, and we will forward them to our special guest. And today's special guest is no other than Jonas Santana from Blackbird Cigar, joining us live from the Dominican Republic. Jonas, it is a pleasure, privilege, and an honor to welcome you. Thanks for taking the time, and thanks for being here with us today at the Light 'em Up Lounge.
Thank you, man. It's all my pleasure. Thank you for taking the time to talk with me.
Well, Jonas, let's get right into it. You don't come from a family with deep roots in tobacco and cigar making. You have your heritage, your origin, you have your family background, but not as a cigar maker. Now here you are as a brand owner, as a manufacturer of Blackbird Cigar, a first generation brand owner, I might say. So you had to learn how to fly in the cigar industry pretty quickly. How come? Tell us a little bit of how a degree in marketing, your love for music and rap and all that ultimately led you to creating your own brand and starting Blackbird.
Wow, you did your research. You know a lot about me. That's fun. That's very interesting. Well, let me tell you, man. Honestly, I used to work in another company, and I pay a lot of attention, right? And I was traveling to the U.S. just with my visa. I didn't have any green card, but as I was able to see how what's going on in the humidor, retailers, meeting people, consumers, shop owners, I think uh, I thought about something like we need something refreshing because honestly, if you're gonna be out there and you wanna be different, like out of these all of big companies that is one way or another they're similar in the styling,
Mhm.
bands and things like that. If I do something similar like them, I'm not really gonna stand out because people's gonna say, "Oh, you look like them," or "I'm already happy with what I have, smoking here and there." So I say, you know what? This is a very hard industry with a lot of competition. So the only way I can stand out is by really applying the marketing in full effect. Because as you said, I have nobody in the family like really in the tobacco business. That what I remember is my great grandmother that used to smoke cigars since the age of 15, and she died at the age of 108. But other than that, like no brands, nothing. So that's all I have in my mind as far as family, great grandmother. But nothing happened. So I I told this company, you know what? I have an idea so we can really penetrate the market with a new refreshing look. Because let's be honest, man. Like people get caught by the eye, they return by the experience. That's the blend, and they stay by the vibe. I always say stay by the vibe because I can have good cigars, but if you don't like me because I don't really I'm not a very appealing guy with every single customer that I have. People say, you know what, I don't want to support this guy. So I know in the US and in a lot of countries, they take the word support very seriously. Like when you want to support somebody, you really want to support it. So when you don't like somebody because whatever they did or they're not appealing, like I said in the past, they just move on and take another brand. Because at the beginning, honestly, nobody need more new brands because they already like humidors are already filled up with cigars. Um, I know me and my brother when we started doing this, we know that we had a very big challenge. So what we were thinking was we need short names, we need bright colors. Short names is because nowadays people don't read like they used to. Also, people, do you remember anybody's cell phone right now? Everybody's cell phone number like when you were a kid? Yeah,
Well,
that's
back in the days, I tried to remember like the landlines of my grandmother and other family people. I mean, nowadays I'd be lost terribly. I don't know a single cell phone number.
Exactly. Back in the days, people used to memorize that because we don't have no smartphones. We just have the phone at the house. I used to memorize, but I can honestly say probably 15 years ago already, and I don't remember any single number. I remember my number when I used to have 8 years old, but nowadays, nothing. So as we know that everything is already right here in the cell phone, people don't really use the brain like they used to
Right.
use it. So that's why you need short names so it can be easy to remember. Why the big names? Because we are in the social media era. Big names is because when you take a picture, you don't even need to zoom in to read the name. So it's easy. And nowadays, people don't really, let's say, they don't work like they used to work. There's more office job, things like that. Remember, back in the days, you used to, I don't know, grow plantain and things like that. Today, that's not the world we're living. Today, we have an office house. Back in the days, that didn't happen. So the world just changed dramatically. So, and like when we were brainstorming that, we just said, you know what, something else that the people like is animals, because animals, when you use it as a logo, it's way easier to remember. Even that I don't use too much the silhouette of the animal, I really use birds, because we say, you know what, we are in an industry that there's a lot of strong guys. Why there are strong guys, strong companies? Because they have 50, 60, 70 years in the cigar industry. We were just starting. So we say, you know what, nowadays, a good story sells more than even the product. And we don't need to lie about it. We don't need to say that we come from a family that makes cigars. We just need to have the right story that really matches our situation. So we have the eagle is the strongest bird. So I see, let's say, for example, I see Fuente as the eagle, is the strongest bird. But how can I play smarter within these eagles in the industry? And we find out that the crow actually is the smartest bird on the planet. So when we find out that, we say, you know what, I think we can have something to dig in here so we can see how the brand can look out from the crow. So if we're going to stand the line, what the crows has, more family, yes, no. So yes, the rook, the crow, the rook, the raven, and the jackdaw are crows, are family of the crow. Now my raven is the unkind, but I'm gonna tell why it's unkind later. So after we got dark feather color birds, dark feather color, we say, you know what, 80% of those cigars that we're making is dark color feather birds. So you know what? We need to name the company Blackbird. That's actually why. We did the finch and the cuckoo, the finch and the cuckoo, because people ask me, why you're not making Dominican cigars, like cigars that taste like Dominican cigars, if you make the cigars in Dominican Republic? And I say, because you need to be different. There's a lot of big guys, like I said in the beginning. But what about you have a guy that likes to smoke in the morning and they're not connected smokers like myself? That's why we created the Finch. So what we try to do is to have a cigar for every single palate. It's going to be very hard to have all the 6 blends that people like it, all of them. Let me ask you something, if I can ask. What do you think is the best cigar? Can you respond that?
Well, some people might say the one in your hand, huh?
That's it. I would say the one you like, because the one in your hand, maybe somebody gave it to you and you don't want to, out of respect, you smoke the cigar. So for me, and I think for everybody, honestly, if they think it twice, the best cigar is the one you like. So we as a company, we try to be appealing with our products for you, because if you don't buy the sticks, we don't make any cigars. So that's why we created 6 blends, because if you don't like 2 of them, maybe you like 4 of them. If you don't like 4 of them, maybe you like 2 of them. And that's totally fine because every palate, every organism is way different. So something that happened that's very curious in the line was with the unkind. That's we had a situation when we started the Crow and the Raven, and no hard feelings. That's already in the past, but it's just part of the story. Somebody called me having saying I have the trademark of the cigar, so you cannot make the cigar anymore. So imagine something that I can say. Go fast forward is when that happened. I was still illegal in the USA country.
Mm.
I started the company with my brother, no papers, just the visa, and it was already due. So imagine starting a new company. Then you have a call for a trademark. Oh, and I can tell you, I was very frustrated. But I learned right away something that you need to try to fix last minute problems. And it doesn't matter if you have 10 years of a very nice numbers and everything, something is going to happen one day and you cannot be frustrated about that. So we named the cigar after that Unkind, which means flock of ravens, and also because the lawyer was unkind with me. So it gave a story that people actually like. It became the number 2 in sales right away. And like I say, no hard feelings, but it's part of the story, and actually something that I think is amazing because when you smoke a cigar you like, and then you also know the story and you feel identified with the story, it's actually the cigar is going to taste better. So we actually developed the brand with key points. As you can see right here, the Yonkai, and it's a long name, but it's still 2 syllables. If you look the Jack though, it's the longest name that we have. It's still 2 syllables. Something else is, as we know we have big bands, like I told you, it's because of the social media. We need to make the people, we need to make something easy for the guys so they can take off the band as soon as they're ready to take off the band. So we say, you know what, as soon as you're ready to take off the band, what you're gonna do? As soon as you're ready to take off the band, you just pull off the bird right here, and it's gonna come easy, as you can see. So why is that? Because if you don't remember the name of the cigar, you remember the color. And if you don't remember the color, you are lazy enough. I make it easier for you so you can save the band in your pocket.
Jonas, it's incredible how much thought you have put into all these little details and elements, and it's probably where some people, despite it's all about the tradition and the craftsmanship and the quality of the product. Those are essential little pieces and golden nuggets that make sort of the overall success. I'm curious though, and you sort of gave an answer by the way the company is structured, but in an industry that is all about the heritage, about the knowledge being passed down from generation to generation over centuries, and the product that Mother Nature gives us. How do you link that, or where do you sort of find that balance, the equilibrium between the actual quality of just the smoke and the cigar per se, and then all the marketing that you bring? And we all know that in today's marketing heavy world, there's so many brands out there, and you said it at the beginning. The humidor, the real estate in the humidor is gone anyways, right? So where do you take your stance? Like, how do you find that equilibrium? And would you say that it was your marketing degree that truly pushed you in that direction, or was it just common sense that you tried to apply to an industry that is rather old-fashioned in certain ways?
It was both. So, like I said, it's very hard to penetrate the market in the cigars. So I said, you know what, we need to penetrate first, make the noise, and after that, one day we can talk more about tradition, but it's going to take time. But that's the first. I need to make the noise. Something else that I can tell you, my brother, the only way I can show you that I have consistency, like Patron, for example, it's not going to be in 3 years, man. Even that I know we have done a lot of noise. We are making a new factory. Still, we need to have at least 7-10 years to show you that we have consistency. But something that I can tell you is my brother is older than me, and he's very good at administrating the company, the finance, how we move everything. But what the people didn't know at the beginning is our master blender. is old enough. So we have a mix between the guy that has a lot of years in the tobacco industry with me that has 11 years in total. But that because I started even before we did Blackbird, but I had the experience in the sales, in shipping, in knowing how the industry works outside with the retailers, doing events, meeting people, things like that. So there was a very nice mix. The old generation, which is a guy that he never had a famous brand, but he worked for a lot of guys that had famous brands nowadays. So we got that generation with me and my brother, and it was a very nice mix. Actually, when we showed him, this is the bands that we're making, he was like, crazy. How are you doing that? That looks like flavored cigars. I'm not used to that. And then after a year, he understand what we were doing. And he was just doing production. We were doing marketing and sales. So that's how we mixed it up. He already had a factory. So we just did a joint venture. We created a company in the US. And now after 3 years, we have a new factory that probably in about 8 weeks to 12 weeks, we're gonna be there. It's very big. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little afraid, but I need to be there. It's a big commitment. But
Jonas,
if you
that's
don't
solely going to
take
be focused on Blackbird, or do you also plan on doing other production on the side, like private label projects and stuff for other brands?
I do a lot of other private labels, and the factory has to maintain itself without the brand. So even that the factory has the same name of the Blackbird brand, it has to work separately. Like Blackbird, let's say Blackbird US is a customer of Blackbird Cigar Factory. So because the Blackbird Cigar Factory does not need the marketing, going sales. It's all about production, taking care of the tobacco, getting the right tobacco, so that company can also make brands for somebody else, which I think is smarter than just maintaining by just the brand. Remember, you cannot put all the eggs in one basket. You need to diversify everything. So, but something that we can know is people go to the factory after they meet Blackbird. So at the end of the day, the factory needs to say thank you to Blackbird, to me, because it's going to get customers over there. Yeah. Because people will see what's going on with the brand, and then people get attracted to it and say, who makes the cigar? Even that it's us, oh, it's Blackbird Factory. We see it as a different stuff.
And of course, it gives you more freedom and flexibility when being near vertically integrated. For you as a brand, you have much more leeway. Now, this is an interesting topic, and I would love to hear your opinion on this, because with individual manufacturers, we have heard different philosophies and the different perspectives on that. To most people, vertical integration is probably like the holy grail, or what they're trying to achieve in order to have control over every single step of the process and every element. Whereas other people might say, you know, geez, I'm not going to get involved with all of that. I'd much rather be independent, so I can then go to the factory, choose only the very best tobaccos, and not have to worry about every, you know, lower priming or less textured tobacco. So I'd much rather just work with the very, very best, pay it an extra or a premium for that, but at least I'm sort of independent. What's your take on that?
I prefer to have the factory, but that would depend on the stage, because some people don't really need it. Actually, now that I think, it would depend on your goal. Honestly, that's going to be very subjective, because I cannot say, oh, you need to have the factory, but maybe you can be good at branding, and you can be bad at producing cigars. I can be great at making cigars, but maybe not that good at growing tobacco. So honestly, I think that would depend on your goal, like where you want to be. Like, I believe that every car makes their own motor, and they still have a brand of a car. So that would depend on your goal, and if you feel comfortable. Like, honestly, if you're being partners with a factory, that factory must commit to everything you ask. The thing is, the cigar industry does not look the same as a consumer, when you don't know anything behind the curtains, behind the scenes, than when you know what have going on behind the scenes. So I took that decision because I was a little afraid. Like honestly, when I started the brand, I knew at the beginning people probably will try to clip my wings. That's why actually I have the slogan "Can clip my wings." But if you don't have anything in the past in the tobacco industry, you can feel comfortable to work with a factory that is committed to make the cigars the way you want it. At the end of the day, having a cigar factory, even that you don't move so much from the place like me that I travel a lot, the factory has more headaches than a brand. Because, like you said, you are working against Mother Nature. If Mother Nature is not giving you the amount of rain that was necessary for the crop, you have a problem. If you didn't buy the enough tobacco for the whole year, you probably gonna have a problem because maybe it was sold out and somebody else took it. Maybe the another big guys bought it or whatever. So honestly, even that I gave you all of that information, I believe it's gonna be depending on your goal, because your goal can be, you know what, I'm gonna have a brand and I also wanna be a distributor of 3, 4 brands. And you can focus on that with the US, UK, Germany, you name it. And somebody else is taking care of the cigars. You just ask for your cigar. This is what I want. If you don't give me what I want, I'm gonna ship your cigars back.
Yeah.
So that's less headache at the end that you will have. Some other people choose to have the factory only and no brands, as you can see. Because once you have a lot of tobacco, you are strong, like having too much tobacco, you have less headaches, and you prefer somebody else to come and buy the cigars and they do the market for you while you're still at home. But typically you see that when it's a factory that already passed from generation to generations, they already have a lot of tobacco from years. They already have all the guys that grow tobacco for them. And they have a structure that took 20 years, 30 years to have. That's a different perspective. But that's what it is. It will depend in your stage. It will depend on your goal. That's what I would say. That's what I would say.
Great point. I mean, even within your company and within your own family, you have split the individual talents and what everybody is taking care of. I'm curious, how's working with your brother? Obviously, for me, family is sort of the North Star and the Holy Grail. It's the essence of what we do, right? But it's a different story when you actually work with your family. What's your experience on that?
Well, when I worked with my father, maybe 1 year, that was another business. When I worked with him, I was still in college. It was horrible. That's why I left him around 14 years ago. Working with my brother, my mother did a great job, but I can say that's why we are able to work together. Because yes, sometimes it's a problem when you work with family. The thing is, my mother, when she were raising us, every time we had a little issue, you know, kids, we punched somebody, we punched our brother, whatever. Always, she took both of us and she put like, hey, you guys look at each other to the eyes, say sorry. You say sorry to him and you say sorry to him. Now, if you don't do that, I have a belt right here that I'm gonna to both of you. So she did that. She did that over and over again. Like she said, you guys can be mad at each other, but that cannot last more than 5 minutes. Man, honestly, if we didn't say sorry to the brother, she will use the belt. Here in Dominican Republic is different than the other countries. We don't call the cops right here. Like, so boop, 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 belt. Say sorry now. If you don't say sorry, I'm gonna keep hitting you. The legs, of course, nothing in the body. And that's how actually we have our problems. And it doesn't last more than 5 minutes. And that's how we can actually work together, honestly. And I have never told that to my mom. Now that I'm mentioning you that, because I haven't analyzed like why we still work together. It's actually because my mom did a great job. Even that using pain is not the best option with a child. It helps us. You know, it teaches us to because I don't understand. Now that the way she raised me, sometimes I don't understand how you have 2 years that you don't talk with your brother. In my mind, that's not possible. Maybe in your mind, but that will depend on the way you were raised. Um, so that's actually, honestly, that's what I believe we can still work together. That's what it is.
Beautiful. And you said that your brother is taking care more of like logistics and administrative work, whereas the creative part obviously comes down to you.
Like I said, everything would depend on the goal, right? So my brother sometimes say, you know what, Jonas, you need to come to the Dominican Republic because you need to always check in the factory. And I'm like, brother, I cannot be everywhere, man. Take care of that. I take care of the sales. And I will go there every other month. Okay. So within time, he understood that. Now he's the one, you don't have nothing to do here. You can go away, keep selling. You don't have, now after years, you don't have nothing to do here in the factory. Just go away. We check numbers every year. But at the beginning, it was like that. That's why I tell you, depending on the goal. Like, why do I really want to be everywhere? If I want to be everywhere I have business, man, I'm going to die early. And why do I want to be rich if I'm going to spend the money to get back the health? There's no purpose. There's no purpose of that. If I want to be rich, because customers make me rich, because this is something that I can say. I don't work for money right now. I believe money comes within time, like a side effect of being successful. At the moment, what I want is the people to say, you know what, Jonas? This cigar, I didn't like it. Why? Because so-and-so. Can you improve it? Yes, that's what I want. I'm going to ship it to you again. After that, you decide if you want to keep supporting me. I want to have the good feedbacks, the bad feedbacks, because in 10 years, I need to have a masterpiece. I want to have a masterpiece. And then within time, money will come. That's all it is. That's the way I see it.
Jonas, I wholeheartedly agree. And for me also, this is a principle in business where I think if you dedicate yourself, your time, your efforts to something that you love, and you do it with all your heart, honesty and sincerity, money is a mere consequence of the effort that you put in, the passion that you spread, the love that you feel, and sort of the community that you embrace. And it's interesting to hear that this is sort of your philosophy or business acumen there as well, because it sometimes I think in every industry certainly feels like money is always the driving force and what everybody is headed towards. But the cigar industry in particular seems to bring together a lot of people that share similar values, that share the passion for the craft, for the product, and for the community, for the camaraderie. And that's always amazing to see.
Yeah, man, we understand that money, cash flow, it's important for the company. That's good, all right. We understand that. But my goal is I want every single person that buys Blackbird to feel comfortable paying the money for the cigar. If you don't feel comfortable enough, you still don't believe entirely in the brand. Maybe whatever happened in the past, or maybe I didn't do a great job or something. But let's be honest, when you buy a cigar, you are burning your money. So if you're gonna burn your money, I want you to be happy burning your money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna have an experience burning your money when you say smoking a cigar. That's something that I say. That I always say, like, if you're gonna burn your money, just burn your money right. I hope that's gonna be a Blackbird. So that's the way I think, man. I think money comes, but you need to before you focus on money, you need to see every single detail in your company. What is missing? What do you need to improve? What am I rushing? Because if you're rushing the cigars to sell, you're gonna have a problem, right? So you need to, because at the beginning, I don't think everybody knows at all. Because it's not the same when you read something than when you are living the situation you read. So within time, you will have growing pains. Like I have growing pains right now in the company. So sometimes I cannot keep up with the demand or something like that. So, but the beauty of this, why I'm enjoying keep making the cigars, even though I'm having growing pains, is because right now my main focus is not to have millions of dollars to spend. I want to have the enough cash flow to improve anything that I need to improve in my brand, in my cigars. Because if one day I want to be sitting down just to say a name, Carlito Fuente, I don't want to feel inferior than him. I don't want to feel bigger than him. I just want to feel I'm enough company to be sitting down next to you. I don't know if you get me.
Very much
It's all
so.
about it's like even that I know how capable we are to be big enough, we also want to feel it from inside. It's not only about showing you that I'm the best at marketing. I want to feel it. I want to feel it inside that yeah, I can be next to you and I can also teach you something that you didn't learn 50 years ago and I learned it now in the 2022. How fun can that be? You know what I mean?
Jonas, you mentioned Carlito, you mentioned Padron before. How much do you actually learn and take inspiration from those icons? Or is it that you much rather try to sort of, fade it out and just focus on everything that you do because you're taking such a different approach, because you're trying to be individual, you're trying to be unique with your marketing. So how do you handle that, taking inspiration here but then staying truly independent and always going a different route?
I think you are a gentleman when you applaud other people's success. And when you have that in your heart, more blessings is going to come to you. That's what me and my brother believe. So something that I can tell you is when you are in an industry, it's not bad to have inspiration. It's good to have inspiration. And if you have any example from those inspiration, the only thing you need to do is to try to make it your way so it does not look like them or something like that. So I can tell you right now, 3 companies that if you think, you will see, okay, if you mention these 3 companies, I understand why this behavior of the company with marketing, products, and things like that. So there's 3 companies that I admire. One is Padron, consistency. Like I said in the beginning, the only way I can show you consistency is not 3 years. It's going to be a lot of years. That's the only company that doesn't even have sales reps in any country. So, and the best marketing is the word of mouth. People tell others smoke Padron, can go with Padron, things like that. So something that I know is successful, it's something that can give me success within time is take the time to make the cigar that people always feel, damn, this is a great cigar every time I smoke it. I can suggest it to so-and-so, and he will be glad that I suggested the cigar. The other one is Drew Estate. Drew Estate is very dedicated, let's say young mentality people. I'm not gonna say young guys or old guys, young mentality people, because you can have 60 and you can feel young inside, and I will applaud you that, and you need to be that way. So, maybe the way he acts, the way he talks, that's the way he is. So he's a brand himself outside of the company, which, as you can see, that happens to me too. But even that, he's also a brand himself outside of the company. I believe Carlito has that in full effect. You know what I mean? Carlito is a guy that meets you second time, probably call you by your name. He has a great memory. Him as a brand himself, I think nowadays it's easier to remember than Jonathan Drew. Even that Jonathan Drew, I admire him. He'd accomplished something that was different than Fuente. So everybody on its own way already accomplished something in the industry, which we applaud. So now that I mentioned that, I want consistency. I want to be a brand myself. That's why I also do music, like I told you. And young generation mentality people, which is Drew Estate, right? So if you combine all those 3, that's actually some 3 inspiration for Blackbird Cigars. And we make it our own by being simplistic, because if you can see, Drew Estate does not have simplistic names. They have long names. Padron has old school boxing. I don't have old school boxing. And Fuente dressed in a way that I don't dress. You see? So even those are my three inspiration. We are making it our own way, but we see like, all right, this guy, I know I like this route and I also like this route, just like that. So that's why I always mention that, just because we need to applaud for everybody, somebody success. Like I always said, that nobody can be on wings, follow your dreams.
Excellent point. I think that's a very interesting mix that you mentioned there, and great to hear those inspirations of yours. Let's talk about marketing and branding a little more. Social media now is such an important part of the equation, especially because you mentioned word of mouth and taking things further. Now, it sometimes feel like, and maybe this is the perspective for me being over here in Europe, but there's other people in the industry that are probably more of a stage hog, and you feel a bit more like a behind the scenes kind of guy, but very outspoken though, but in a different way. How would you describe your own character there, or your approach when you're trying to communicate and go out there? Because it's not always about Jonas Santana, right? It's more about Blackbird. No. It's more about the entire company. So not truly about you being like, here I am, here's Jonas.
Exactly. But well, something that you should know, you probably know, a cigar cannot talk. So if I show you a picture of a cigar, right, every single day, it can be a different brand every single day. The only way you can have likes is because one crew liked that cigar that you post. But me as a persona, I can talk about every different subject every time you put the camera on me. So, and if you go in the Instagram, like every time it's me, I have more views and likes than when it's only the cigar, unless I launch a new product. Why is that? People right now gets bored very fast. So when you have somebody telling you something, telling you a little joke, giving you an information in a very nice way, people feel identified. And something that you should know is that people follow people. That's why we have fans, basketball, baseball, because people follow people. So that's I got to understand that very quick. And something else that I'm not gonna lie, at the beginning, I didn't feel very comfortable when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do something that is not common in the industry, but let's see the reaction. And that's how I find out I need to be unique in the industry. And people like unique, because that's the only way you are different from the others. If you're gonna dress like somebody else, and sorry that I need to mention that again, if you dress with a guayabera and a hat, you're probably gonna look like Carlito. That's Carlito flow, not your flow. Get your own, my man. You know what I mean? Don't take it in the wrong way. Just get your own. So there's a couple of guys that they are a character, like Room 101. Kawa looks a certain way. Lito Gomez looks a certain way. And if you see all of that, they have uniqueness in their own way. So you need to have uniqueness so you can be set apart from the others. I also like cameras, I'm not gonna lie. and honestly, people get sincere when I ask them a question. When I tell them, hey, what do you think? Well, can you tell me which one is your favorite size cigar? People go there and tell me that. So something that I can say thank you to all of them is that they give me free information that at the end is to give you a better cigar, not me. I'm not able to buy all the cigars that I make. It's the customers at the end of the day. So that's why actually I can tell you, but because we are very focused on the customer, that's why we created a smoking panel, right? So a smoking panel, like I told you, you can see what's going on in the industry. A lot of guys have smoking panel, but we believe you need to have two smoking panels. The one inside of the factory and the ones that are really going to buy your cigars outside of the factory. They are more important for me than the ones in the factory, because the people in the factory, even that they have knowledge and experience, they are not out there visiting shops and talking to people. They talk to each other. They talk to guys that works in other factories, and the information is there just right in the circle. So the information that they take is when I come to the factory and tell them this is what's going on in Arizona, this is what's going on here and there. So, because at the end of the day, you are nobody without the customers. So that's my favorite smoking partner. People that don't know me, people that probably smoke my cigar once, that tells me, hey, Jonas, you need to improve this part. That's actually when I create the macaw, I ship around to 200 guys. And I told them, and I gave them a list of questions. And man, I can tell you that probably 50 to 60% really send me the information. I'm really, really happy for that, because they want to have a better cigar at the end of the day. If you never ask that to the customer now in the era of social media, you're missing out. Ask them what they want. They're gonna tell you freely. So you need to, that's people will call this engagement. And I don't know if I will call the same way engagement. It's just, man, just get close to your customers. Don't be so corporate. Get close to your customers. Ask them questions. They will let you know. You know what I mean?
You just made me think of a question that we haven't really discussed on the show before with our previous guests, but I've heard conversations about this numerous times, and I think in particular Dave Garofalo at the Cigar Authority, they talk about it every now and then, and that is the dependency on social media and how much of a double-edged sword that truly is for the cigar industry. Because ultimately, I mean, we're live streaming to Facebook now, right? We then post a video to YouTube, and Instagram for a lot of brands is probably their only means of communication. But that could be all gone tomorrow if anybody just decides that the cigars are no longer feasible and accepted on social media. Is that something that you're worried about sometimes and feel like, what are we going to do once social media probably react in a negative way to cigar content being published there?
Well, that's a great point. That's actually a great point, and I can tell you something. Within the years, I have seen less crowd really interacting in tobacco, and I know that has to be because of this tobacco. Some people get the post way later than something else. You see that when you post, a child really goes very, very fast than tobacco or alcohol and things like that. But you know, I think there's politics behind, because, for example, I have never seen a company of cigars having that many followers than a company that makes marijuana. So at the end of the day, this is politics. You know what I mean? I know it's different type of smokes in different reaction, but now in the stage that I am, I'm not so worried, because after you use a tool, there's a lot of things that always gonna work, which is the face-to-face. And a lot of people didn't need it back then. They didn't. Actually, I see the social media as a gift to us, the new generation of cigars. That's a gift that we use it and to our advantage. And after we conquer some stuff, then you go and make the relationship with the guys. It's nice because the information travels so fast. You can even launch a brand just in Instagram. Yes, that is true. But I don't know. I think you need to be prepared. You always need to have the face-to-face communication all the time, because there's days that you cannot even post something because something crashed for 38 hours. And that happened many times. Every time they have a new update or something like that. So in the stage that I am, I'm not worried. If I'm starting, like really, really starting, yes, I would probably worry, because that being said, I will need to spend more money in traveling, meeting people here and there. But on the other hand, I can tell you before I finish this little answer is the Instagram actually made me in 80%, because people were telling others, you need to smoke Blackbird. When they were posting the pictures, which I tell you in the beginning, big names, big bands, you don't need to zoom in, bright colors, get attention right away. right? So my first cigar that really made it was the Crow. Crow is red. Red is easy to remember. It's gonna pop out in every single platform, physically everywhere. So that really helped. Like I can tell you that probably the first year and a half, 80% of my orders was more Instagram than email.
Yeah.
I can tell you that right now. So it's a very nice tool, but also I think maybe cigar guys, we must. I think there was a app for cigar social media. I don't know if it's still there. I don't know if it was Farage or something like that. Maybe we need that. Maybe not, because maybe if you see only cigars, there's gonna be one day like, you know what, I want to see something else. I want to see something else, like just cigars or why? Um, you think you just need to use different tools all the time. But let me tell you, if we have that situation, probably the world has the same situation, because probably what 70% of the companies or 80% of the companies with no internet, they cannot work.
Very true.
And if the USA was capable of shutting down Donald Trump Instagram page, man, you know, I'm just the cigar industry is just like this compared to that.
As you said,
it's crazy, man.
You got to be prepared. And I mean, if you allow, shameless plug, because you mentioned apps, you know, our own Light 'em Up Go application, which we consider the Swiss Army knife for the modern cigar enthusiast, has very successfully went through its beta testing phase. So it's out there. Everybody can join. We have our HERF feature. You can host your own events, find all physical and virtual events, and find the best places to purchase and smoke and enjoy your fabulous cigars. So a most heartfelt invitation to everybody watching yet again to check it out, app.lightemupgo.com, and we're looking forward to welcoming you all on the app. We had a question from Ian over to the UK. Always a pleasure. Yep. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for being here with us.
Thank you, Reinhard. Hi, Jonas. Very interested in your philosophy, which I think contrasts with some people, and I'm thinking particularly of guys like Steve Saka, who's not interested in his customers. He makes the cigar because he likes it. He doesn't ask people what they think of it. He makes the cigar that he likes. And you seem to have the opposite approach to that. I'm also a little bit concerned about, you know, just on social media and Instagram and so on. I mean, it's great, but you know, it's very transparent. People just want something new, something new, something new. Whereas I want a good cigar. And if you ask me what I want, well, surprise me with something really nice. I can't tell you how to improve your cigars. That's not my job as a consumer. I can tell you I like it or I don't like it, but I can't necessarily say how you should improve it. So I don't know how, you know, whether you've got expert cigar smokers who can tell you that or what, because people sometimes say they want things and then they don't necessarily, you know, so you could go in one direction, but that's not really what's going to work. You just need to do good cigars so they're consistent and people enjoy them.
So your concern would be, what's your concern again?
Well, I think my concern would be that I suppose that the social media, the Instagram and so on, it's very much of the moment and people just want something new all the time. Okay. And I'm not sure that's necessarily right for a cigar company because you're always chasing and chasing and chasing after the next thing. And you mustn't forget, you've got to do consistently good cigars that people want to come back to. So in 5 years' time, if I smoke a Padron or an Oliva or a Hoyo de Nicaragua, I know it's going to be a good cigar. And I'm not necessarily looking for something that's new and exciting. I just want a good cigar that I enjoy.
Yeah, okay. So I believe, I can tell you a couple points here. That right now there's something psychology that I can say to the guys, the new generation of smokers, that they want to get something new. There's something else right here, which is there's a lot of people that want to have a cigar that you cannot get them, for example. That's why some items or cars are very acclimated because I can get something that you cannot get. That's something that I don't follow that. I don't like that, but I will respect everybody's decision. When you say having, let's say, making a brand every time, as a company for us, it's going to be nothing that we really like, because when you work in production, if you need to develop a blend every single month, again, we're going to have probably consistency problems, or the cigar will taste similar to the others. So I believe in one great product every year, one great product, or a development of a new size of a certain product. Because now what's going on is, as many brands it goes out, it's gonna be hard for people to remember those brands because it's too much. It's too much, but that's because of the social media. I believe we need to develop something. Doesn't necessarily to be a brand. It can be a size. It can be, let's say, the Black Label Crow, for example, and we tweak something a little bit, but we give you the same brand. I prefer to have the same brands, but can make tweaks every year, so I can give you something new. But I kind of agree with you. Like, you have something and you want to stick to it, that's fine. But at the end of the day, what's your favorite meal, for example?
It all depends. I mean, I like my food. I like a steak. I like a good a casserole. I like chicken. I like good fish. You know, I don't have a favorite cigar or a favorite wine or a favorite whiskey. It just depends on my mood, and I don't want to do the same thing all the time. I want to change. I want to have, variety. Variety is the spice of life, as they say.
So what you're telling me, you already give me the answer. What you're telling me, let's have something new, but not too many times. Let me enjoy what I have before you develop the new cigar.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, when I look at some of the cigar websites and look at the different brands they have, there are many there I've never tried and probably never will get round to trying. And then within that, you've got different vitolas, which can be quite different. I know you do some Corona cigars. Well, they will be quite different from a Gordo or a Busto. There's almost too many for the average smoker to get through. You're not going to try them all. You find the ones you like, and then you tend to stick to them. So I've got perhaps a dozen brands that I tend to go to. I'm very happy to try something new all the time, but I haven't. I'm in England. We don't have Blackbird over here, so I haven't been able to try them. Maybe when I'm in the States, I'll pick some up and see if I like them.
No, you're gonna go to the UK. Yeah, we have an order that we need to ship over there. The distribution is gonna start over there, if I'm not wrong, in March. So you're gonna find it over there in the UK.
Who's selling them in the UK?
The distributor name is gonna be Tobacco World.
Okay.
That's gonna be the distributor. Well, at the end of the day, man, like, the cigars is very subjective. There's gonna be a guy that they want a different cigar every single day. That's not me. I want to try a different cigar probably every month, every 2 months. But that's very subjective at the end of the day. If one part of the world likes to smoke a cigar every day, different cigar, that's up to them. If you want to stick to something for 6 months and then you want to change it in 6 months, that's good too. As a brand, I don't think it's a great idea to develop many brands every year. I don't think so, because you cannot have you cannot even calculate, hey, how much I'm gonna do next year, because you don't have the information on what happened with this brand for 2 years. Then what we're gonna do for the 3rd year with the same brand. If I develop a new brand every single year, probably I'm gonna have a mess. Like, too many brands. I believe one limited edition a year, unless you are part of a subscription company. Like, I don't know if Light 'em Up probably have it. Excuse me for that, because I don't know. But there's company that have a subscription company that you can stick to your cigars, and you just pay them a fee, and they will ship you 3 cigars, 4 cigars a day, and you can a month, and you can enjoy the cigars and see what you like and repeat if you want it after you go to the shop online. But honestly, man, at the end of the day, I think there's no rule. It would depend on you.
Fine. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No, thank you for asking the question.
Let me maybe frame it slightly different, and I would like to use Ian's question as sort of a segue into one thing I'm curious about. Now we spoke about the internet before and social media, but in the cigar world, the traditional brick and mortars are still sort of the backbone and the engine of the industry that keeps everybody going, like the mom and pop, your local cigar retailer, the trusted gal or guy who introduces you to an amazing smoking experience. And we also mentioned that shelf space is rather limited. It's precious real estate that is pretty much sold out. How do you then make sure that you can play it right with the retailer and make sure that you have great representation both on the shelves, but also by word of mouth from your retailer to the customer, to the end consumer then?
How do I make sure I have a great representation instead of the humidor?
Well, that, and also make sure that the retailer is truly invested in the whole thing and then recommends it and make sure that you have a moving product there.
Well, I don't have the same experience in the UK or other places, but in the US, most of the time, retail shops, they don't really work in recommending. That's something that I learned, and that's why we did the marketing work. So we make the customers as the retailers if you have Blackbird cigars. And something that I didn't mention before, I put it that easy that, for example, in the lid of the box, there's a strength bar. So I make it easier for the guys to know what they want to smoke. I always put the wrapper, because let me tell you, the three most common questions in a retail shop is what's the wrapper, what's the strength, and what's the size. Even that the size is something like, Jonas, come on, everybody knows the size, but most of the time people put the size on the sides of the box so you're not able to see it, unless it's the cigar that you smoke every day. So we try to, for example, and that's why I didn't mention something before. Those bright colors that I have in the boxes is because I want to stand out over the other ones. The humidor is light brown color. Most of the boxes are light brown color. So the only way I can pop is by having bright colors. So we make the people ask the retail shop owner or the guy that is working there, hey, what's this new bright color people? Can you tell me something? And then there goes the interaction. If we go with what the gentleman said in the past, for example, is that the retailers don't necessarily want to have a new cigar every month, because new cigar every month will mean work for them. And they don't really want to introduce a new cigar every month to their customers again to see if it's going to sell. They prefer to stick for whatever they have and just do inventory, check the sales, do events with them, and they don't need to focus on that anymore. But that will depend in the traction. There's some membership people that have done a great job that people then, as the shop owner, then they bring it. That's the best work, because honestly, I don't think any shop needs new cigars. I don't think so. We make them. Like, remember, we create the necessity at the end of the day. And when do you see shop owners want a new cigar? When they're not having the right respect that they deserve. Like, for example, I treat every single shop the same. It doesn't matter the size of the shop. It doesn't matter the buying power. But there's some other brands, companies that I'm glad they are that way. So it's an opportunity for me that they don't treat everybody the same. Maybe because they already made it for 30 years, 40 years. That's just the world. That's when you need to see and understand when you have that gap to penetrate with your brand. Somebody else is not doing something that you're going to do. That's all it is. So then when they don't have the same, for example, they pay high prices for the cigar, they're not having the product on time, they're not giving them any support like swags or lighters or color or something, then, hey, you know what? I need new brands that really are committed to work with me, with the customers. Then you get those calls. But they must have a problem, so then you have a call. If they don't have a problem, they will call you, because if everything is okay, people at the end, people will go to you, not you to them.
Very good point. Jonas, we had a question from our dear friend Brian Julian over in sunny California. How are you?
Hello. Good afternoon. Hey, first question for Reinhard: where is your beautiful wall of spirits, or your plant?
Well, I actually just moved about 2 meters to the east of it. I have this wonderful standing desk here, and I just had a different backdrop today, so I'll get you back to spirits next week.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, Jonas, I'm agreeing with a lot of what you're saying here. This is really fascinating. I like the point about companies coming out with a new blend every year, and like you were saying earlier too, it takes a lot of years to develop the cigar and make it perfect. Like you said, you want that one beautiful, perfect thing. And if a company's coming out with a new blend every single year, how long is it going to take to make it exactly the way it needs to be?
Exactly.
That's cool. My thing with the social media is, I think it's a great tool. I think it's great for people to take advantage of, and it's been great during a pandemic, technology and everything. But I think at the end of the day, people are going to need that face-to-face interaction no matter what. It's like a basic human need, like breathing. Every time people are on the calls and they're seeing friends they haven't seen in so long, they're like, I can't wait to see you in person.
Yeah. And I agree with you.
Yeah. My 2 cents on the trying new things out. I'm the guy who's trying something new every week. I have my favorite cigars, but I have a list. I'm going through it. I'm going to try it because there's so much out there. That's what I think. I like the branding. The colors are great. I was thinking last week we had on Crux, and they were talking about the bright colors and the simplicity. And I like the names. For me, of course, I'm probably going to try the Rook, and that'll be my favorite because it's a bird, but also a chess piece. Sorry, I'm just rambling now. So I'm going to ask you a question. In terms of music, okay. So first of all, have you noticed how it's so brilliant that you're a rapper, but then now cigars have rappers, so it's like rapper to rapper, 2 meanings. I think that's. Can I find your stuff on Spotify?
Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, every platform. So cool. In this case, I can probably say that I'm the first cigar manufacturer that is trying to also pursue the rapper because most of the time, celebrities like a rapper after they are conquer, then they start doing businesses like cigars. In my case, it's opposite. I couldn't make it in the past because I had to work. So I got to learn cigars. And then when I had the time to do it, and a little financial freedom, so that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to do the rap. So what I did was something else that is marketing. The cigars, tobacco, everything tobacco related is hard to advertise, to promote, because you cannot do TV and anything. But when you do a music video, a product placement is the Blackbird cigar.
Yeah.
So I can have, you know what I mean? So I can have fun doing what I always liked since I was a kid by also promoting what I'm doing as a grown man, which is cigar. And they consider that the product is the song, not like, if you upload it to YouTube, the product is the music video, not really the cigar. The cigar is the product placement. So you don't have the problem of promoting the video.
Yeah, that's super smart. I love it. I love it the other way around with the industry and then the art. Like it's usually someone gets famous and then they start a cologne or something, or the guy from Tool. Like the guy from Tool can start a wine label and people will buy it because he's the guy from Tool. But so yeah, that kind of leads into my next question, which is how do you feel about how would you define a cigar lifestyle, maybe in the context of music? Because the music industry, I think it's huge, right? You've got Kid Rock has a cigar on the front of his CD, or all different kinds of musicians, and the look of it and that image. Would you say that you can define a cigar lifestyle in terms of music, or just in general to you? What does a cigar lifestyle mean to you?
In my case, it's just general. If you like cigars, you just like cigars. I don't, something else that I do in this, and it's I don't tell you, hey, for example, if you see a Ashton rep, they always in a suit. So if if the shop is full of people with suit, maybe you're in sandals, don't feel comfortable to step in. And I don't like that. I prefer everybody dress the way you want, feel comfortable, and come here. So it's not like that division. I don't think it's necessary. If cigars is a pleasure, why you need to be forced to dress a certain way? That doesn't make any sense. Cigars is to relax after your full day of work. Maybe you don't want to wear a shoe. You want to wear sandals because you're feeling to breathe. And that's the way I see, like, it's relaxation. So honestly, I smoke cigars to relax and I talk with my guys. For some reason, when I drink a little rum, which I'm from Dominican Republic, I like rum. Then I want to smoke a cigar. For some reason, I like it. But it's about having fun and having a great conversation with your guys. It's not about the way you dress. It's not about if you like to fish or somebody else like baseball. It doesn't matter. Cigar smoking is just cigar smoking. And you dress the way you want. You listen to the music you want. It doesn't matter, man. It's a relaxation thing. And you pay to relax. Nobody needs to force you how you need to be. That's the way I think.
Cool. Yeah, the cigar lifestyle is just the lifestyle of enjoying cigars.
Exactly. That's it, man.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Cheers.
man. Take care.
Jonas, do you sometimes feel that people in the cigar industry are particularly prone for, like artistic either side hustles or just interests and hobbies? Because it feels like so many people in the cigar industry are musicians or have some sort of an artistic background and connotation to them as well. Where's that link between the two that makes them so beautifully in line with each other?
Well, music is art, cigars is art. So it takes time to make a cigar. It takes time to make a great song, to make a great paint. So, for example, when I want to write a lyric, I start smoking a cigar and I just go far and far in my mind. Like it's my moment. Something else that I consider the cigar, smoking cigar, and when it's by yourself, I believe it's your moment. Like, I don't want nobody to talk to me. Maybe I want to read a book. Maybe I just want to think. Sometimes you just need 1 hour of your time to think, honestly. And maybe your best friend is gonna be a cigar. And people get inspired smoking a cigar, like for real. Like I always write lyrics when I'm smoking a cigar. I don't know why specifically. Maybe because it's my peaceful time. It's my time of peace. And art maybe gets along with art. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's very subjective again, but it's a great combination.
Very, very good point that you mentioned. It's about the time. It's about your moment and focusing on what's important for you, or having the opportunity to even just dig deep and go into your own brain and reconsider certain things in life. Or you just take the time with somebody else, and then you share the moment and you embrace that camaraderie. A cigar is very much about time, I feel, and yes, most certainly.
In some way, I think cigars make you more focused. When you're smoking a cigar, let's be honest and think for 2 seconds. You are more interested to see if the cigar is burning well than what's going on around you. Mm. Just think about it. It make you more focused. Like you're focused on to see if the cigar is burning well, more than anything around you. So you are more focused. It's
very
great.
Good point. Beautiful. Jonas, it's fascinating. Like a young bird that has left the nest, learned how to fly, and you did the very same thing. And I want to congratulate on everything that you have built with Blackbird, and what a most inspiring and truly amazing journey that you have there. Before we wrap things off for today, I'm curious to learn a little bit about how you see the future, both for the industry in the next couple of months and actually a couple of years, and also for Blackbird Cigar. We all know the industry is booming at the moment. We all know cigar sales are skyrocketing, but what's your bold predictions for the months and the years ahead? And where do you want to take Blackbird?
Well, okay, in the industry in general, sadly, I think a couple of companies, it's no longer gonna be anymore because there's a tobacco shortage right now. Worldwide, it's a tobacco shortage, and if you don't have tobacco, you cannot make cigars. Or if you don't have the right tobacco, you cannot make the same cigar you used to make 3 months before. But things happen. In Blackbird, I'm already, like, I had the question probably 3 years ago, where you see yourself in 5 years? And I said, I want to have a big factory. I had it in 3 years. Now I have a big factory, is 30,000 square feet. Like I say, I'm a little afraid because it's a big commitment. But also it gives me the motivation to go out there and keep chasing the dream. Something that I can tell you more than the company, which I believe is more important, what I pretend to do when the company is up and running, successful years, is I really want to help people in the Dominican Republic. Me and my brother always talk about that. I want to see also, you probably want to help somebody, but if they don't let you help, you're not going to help. At least we want to try. Like, I want to try that everybody that is working at the factory over there, we can provide great education for their children. That's something that I like. I'm not expecting any applause or people telling me you're the best. I don't really care about that. Like, if I care about that, I don't really mean it when I make it. I really want to do it because I feel good doing it. And if God want to bless me, good. If not, that's okay for me. But it's something that I wanna commit to also my country. You know, my country has a lot of limitations, bad education, and the salary is not the best. But if we can help in any way for education of their children, people that work with us, I know me and my brother is going to be very happy. They don't need to keep working with us. Honestly, we're not expecting anything. We just want to feel that it's the right thing to do. Like, you cannot pass the world without not leaving anything. Like, legacy can be the brand, but also I'm going to be happy if people say, wow, 80 years ago, there was a guy named Jonas and Vladimir, my brother, right? And they helped this city, and look how they are. You know, you cannot pass the world without leaving something to the world. Never.
Amen. Beautifully said. So David's joined us. David, my brother, pleasure to see you. Before we're getting close to the end, but before we wrap things up, we got to bring you in. Oh man, how are you doing?
I'm sorry for joining late, Reinhard.
You were watching on Facebook. I mean, you were there the whole time, brother. No worries.
Yeah, but I was stuck at work. I literally just ran home, turned on my iPad, and jumped on. I even turned on my iPad before I lit my cigar. But so, Jonas, a lot of guys around here. I'm from Houston, Texas. A lot of guys around here love your cigars. My buddy Larry and Tyler at Smoke Ring in fact, they have a collaboration with you as a shop exclusive.
Yeah, the Mockingbird. Yeah,
Mockingbird, yes, which is a fantastic cigar. I've sent it to a few of my friends. They said the construction alone is phenomenal.
Thank you, man.
Which leads me to my question: what got you into your passion in cigars? Like, what was that moment you're like, this is it. This is what I want.
Well, I still working with another company, but the thing is, I always wanted to travel, meet people, because I always believe that when you meet more people, you have more knowledge. I know books give you knowledge, but when you meet people older than you in your journey, people give you free advice. So even that if you study something, your experience is going to be based in what you did the last 5 years. So what I did those last 5 years, in this case was 7 years, was cigars. So I know more than cigars than whatever I studied. Even that I have a marketing degree, I learned more about sales specifically. Even though the sales is inside of marketing, sales is a totally different department of marketing.
Right.
So I got to learn and I got to know how to make something different and man, I just like to turn around. I just turned around the industry, man, and that was fun for me. Like if I don't have fun doing something, I just don't do it anymore. So I had fun traveling and things like that, more than anything, more than being here at the factory, even that I have to do. But it's about that. Like I really like to feel the warmth of every single person that I shake hands, give a hug. That I think is something very nice. That human warmth, and that's why I kept doing the cigars. And people were having faith in me. You know what you're doing. You need to make it happen. If you need something, just let me know. So I had more friends in the cigar industry than anything in my life. Like I have childhood friends, but now it's more cigars. Like I know who to call in every state, and I have a home to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not about customers anymore. Like they just turn around my family. That's all it is. I need to make good cigars for them. You know?
I like that. Yeah, that's good. You know, it's one thing I love about this industry. Everybody's so friendly. I'm still trying to do my best to go see Reinhardt. I mean, me and him, we've been talking on and off on Facebook for what, 2 years now. And you're right. It's different. Me and Reinhardt can sit here and talk and hang out and have fun and converse. But it's different than me and him getting together, hugging, having a glass of bourbon, smoking a cigar,
Exactly.
you know, spending time with each other, quality time. That's one thing that even my generation is lacking. Is we are wanting to do everything with social media, but we don't want to go out. We want to stay home. But I personally, like I told Carlito, it's great talking to you, but when I first hugged him, it was the best day of my life. I enjoyed myself because I finally got to hug a buddy, my Reinhardt, that knows the guys at the Cigar Fanatics. When I met them in Tampa, that was the best time seeing Joey and April and all my buddies I've been talking to online forever. So yes, I agree with you, Jonas. That is good. Going out and meeting people is a total different experience than trying to learn on video or even in a book. A mechanic always says, I can read how to make an engine or repair an engine, but I won't know until I actually get my hands in there.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
And as much as we all yearn for, you know, those personal interactions, at least it's wonderful to still be connected through the means that we have here. And I'm truly glad that we had a chance to get together yet again this week, this Wednesday here at the lounge. And I want to say thank you, Jonas, to you for everything that you do and for taking the time joining us here today, sharing some of your story, your journey, and nothing but the very best for the path ahead. And I look forward to sharing many good cigars with you in the future.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I'm going to let you know as soon as I'm going to travel to your area. Blessings to you and everybody that is here.
Likewise. Many thanks, Jonas. All the very best and light him up, my friend. Take care.